carnivores, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Bella the Steak and Butter Gal, and in today's video, I'm going to try to help out those of you who think the carnivore diet is interesting, but just too expensive to be an option for you. Raise your hand if you've heard people say steaks are too expensive. I'd go carnivore if I could afford it. Actually, everyone has probably heard everyone say steaks are too expensive, because seriously, they are. In fact, beef prices are 8 to 10% higher across the board in 2024 compared to this time last year. So in today's video, I'm going to reveal 7 budget meats to stockpile this year that you can rely on for your carnivore journey without breaking the bank. I've been relying on some of these options for 5 years now, and on top of being reliable choices, you can also find all these options for less than $10 a pound anywhere they're available. First, I'll share what they are and why I love them, and then I'm going to rank them from best to worst. Without further ado, let's get started with budget meat number 1. The first kind of meat I'd stockpile is going to be the chuck-eye steak. Chuck-eye steak is a butcher's secret for a fatty, cheap alternative to ribeye, making it an attractive option for budget-conscious carnivores. It ranges from $6.99 to $8.99 a pound where I get it from my local butcher shops, but I've seen it for less, especially if you just get the regular chuck steak. Keep in mind that the chuck-eye is going to have more fat than regular chuck, which is usually what butchers use for chopped stew meat. No matter what, it is always going to be a more affordable option than ribeye steaks. Chuck-eye steak comes from the chuck primal region of the cow, which is located closer to the front shoulder. This area of the cow is typically less tender compared to the rib primal region, where ribeye steak is sourced from. However, it really does offer a similar texture and taste profile to ribeye, and is plenty fatty at a fraction of the cost. It boasts rich flavor and ample marbling, and is super versatile and can be prepared using various cooking methods like grilling, pan-searing, or slow cooking in the oven, or even an Instant Pot. To give you a pro tip, always call your local butcher shop or grocery store meat department ahead of time to reserve the chuck-eye steak for yourself. Because of its great value and very small quantities, it does tend to sell out fast, so of course, stockpile and bulk buy whenever you can. Now, moving on to meat number 2, sticking with our steak options, the second kind of meat I'd stockpile this year is going to be the top round steak. The naturally lean, thick cut of steak with a bold, beefy flavor, and is a favorite grilling steak that is lean enough and affordable enough to enjoy any night of the week. Top round is cut from the inside of the cow's leg, and because it's so lean, it could benefit from time in the moist heat of a slow cooker, or you could tenderize it with a meat mallet. As a rule of thumb, steaks and meats that are leaner in nature are oftentimes more economical options available at the butcher counter or grocery stores. As another pro tip to save money, I recommend opting for grain-fed beef over grass-fed beef. I personally find that grain-fed meat tastes beefier and more delicious. It's also naturally more marbled. As a caveat to this, those with extreme sensitivities or who have a lot of autoimmune issues they want to heal may want to opt for the grass-fed, grass-finished beef to best avoid any flare-ups. Getting back to the top round steak, you can always make up for the fat content by enjoying a stick of cold butter on the side, which is never more than a few bucks per stick. If lean cuts of beef are not for you, this next cut of beef is going to be right in your wheelhouse. So the third kind of meat that I would stockpile any day of the year is going to be my all-time favorite cow-derived protein, which is the glorious short ribs. There are 2 popular ways to enjoy short ribs: flank-in short ribs and English cut short ribs. We also know flank-in short ribs as cross-cut ribs, kosher ribs, and Korean-style barbecue ribs. Chefs may refer to the English cut to short ribs as braising ribs, barbecue ribs, or fancy cut ribs because of the dense slab of meat perched atop those bones. I really can't say enough good things about short ribs in general because it is relatively inexpensive, fatty, beefy, flavorful, and also really convenient to cook because all I do is lay it out on a baking tray with parchment paper for easy cleanup. I literally just bake it at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for a total of 45 to 50 minutes depending on the thickness. Now for the English cut, big, thick cut short ribs, I've discovered that baking at 290 degrees Fahrenheit for a total of 3.5 hours is that sweet spot for tender, fatty, melt in your mouth meat. Usually I find them in between the $5 to $9 per pound range where I live in Seattle. And by the way, I highly recommend you all utilize the Flip app. It's spelled F-L-I-P-P. I will link it down below. You can literally find all of the best discounts near you. Out of all the meats covered so far, this is the one I find on sale the most, and you can usually find them well under $10 if they're on sale even at the fanciest grocery stores. So while short ribs are often braised or slow cooked to perfection, they can also be grilled, smoked, or oven roasted for different flavor profiles. The meat is marbled with intramuscular fat and plenty of collagen too, which breaks down during slow cooking methods like braising or smoking, resulting in the most melt in your mouth tender meat. Let's move on to meat number 4. The fourth kind of meat and the last of the beef variety in this video that I would stockpile before prices go up is ground beef. I hope you did not think I'd forget about this most beloved carnivore staple, and it really is a carnivore's best friend for a lot of good reasons. This year and every year until something truly horrific happens, ground beef is always going to be a reliable choice for carnivores on a budget. As far as meats that have a balanced macronutrient profile, I have a hard time thinking of any cut that beats out ground beef. It provides a balanced mix of protein and fat, making it a satiating and nutrient-dense option for us carnivores. Depending on the lean to fat ratio, ground beef can also be customized to meet your individual preferences. Whether aiming for a higher protein content, maybe you thrive off of a higher fat carnivore diet, or you enjoy days of eating leaner, you can easily toggle between 80-20 ground beef, 90-10 ground beef, and even 70-30. Ground beef is obviously readily available at most grocery stores and butcher shops at around $5 per pound. For those who are ground beef fanatics with a craving for the juiciest option, I highly recommend Snake River Farms Wagyu ground beef for special occasions. It is definitely pricier than regular ground beef, but at $10 a pound, it can still be worked into your budget. Some days I actually prefer a delicious fatty ground beef meal over a freshly cooked steak. And of course, it all depends on my mood, where I'm at in my month. Is my period here? Am I craving for extra fatty meat? If you guys would like a whole meal plan of ground beef carnivore meals that are delicious yet budget friendly, I will make sure to link my top 10 ground beef carnivore meals down below in the description box. The fifth kind of meat and the first non-beef option that I would recommend stockpiling in 2024 is skin-on pork shank. Compared to popular cuts like pork chops, tenderloin, or even belly bacon, pork shank is less commonly sought after by consumers. As a result, it may be priced lower by retailers to encourage sales and reduce inventory. It cost me $5 a pound, frozen and vacuum sealed at my local butcher shops. The pork shank comes from the hind leg of the hog. This cut has a high content of connective tissue and collagen, which breaks down after slow cooking to produce meat that is extremely juicy and flavorful. Any pork meat with skin offers a nice combination of rich and satisfying texture, and because of the fatty skin and bone in the shank, there's also a delicious collagen jelly that develops if you let the liquid fats rest overnight. This is incredibly nutritious and great for our skin, hair, nails, and overall health. I personally recommend etching the skin with a knife to make a diamond cut pattern and baking it in the oven at any temperature below 350 degrees Fahrenheit until the skin has a beautiful golden crisp. I would always save that fat in the fridge so it can develop in a delicious, flavorful carnivore jelly. I discovered this budget meat through my good friend John, who is a butcher at ButcherBox Meats in Seattle. I often cook it for myself and my fiance, Steak and Butter Guy, whenever we are craving for that rich umami flavor. It is only $4.99 a pound for each pork shank, so this is seriously my secret gem meat. As I mentioned, one of my favorite parts of that pork shank meat is that delicious collagen jello that develops when you let that liquid fat cool down after cooking. And the sixth meat I recommend stockpiling in 2024 makes no exception on this as well. You guessed it, it is chicken wings. I'd say most of us can agree that chicken is usually on the lean side and really difficult to cook in that it is very easy for the meat to come out dry, tough, sinewy, And so I'll go as far as to say that chicken wings are the best cut of chicken, period, especially for carnivores on a budget, because at $3 to $5 a pound, you are getting the perfect ratio of tender, juicy meat to crispy, flavorful skin. And having that satisfying texture contrast with every bite is just a carnivore's dream. They're super idiot-proof to cook, and I recommend baking them on a tray with parchment paper, of course, in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for a total of 45 minutes. You can even finish with a broil for 5 minutes to achieve that extra crispy chicken skin. It will also help lock in the moisture so that the actual chicken meat remains tender and succulent. And one last thing about chicken wings that I feel is underappreciated is how fun and shareable they are. Chicken wings bring people together and add a festive touch to any meal. Plus, I just love the act of eating meat with my hands, being able to lick my fingers clean. It is totally part of that carnivore meat eating experience. Let me know if you ever have chicken wing nights as a tradition in your house. It definitely happens at least 2 to 3 times a week in my home. Now, last but not least, the 7th meat that I recommend stockpiling in 2024, and honestly for every year after, is going to be suet or beef fat trimmings. There's really nothing to say except that beef fat trimmings are probably the best bang you could possibly get for your buck. These trimmings often cost no more than 99 cents per pound and could actually be completely free at certain locations that treat trimmings as throwaway parts. Beef fat is highly nutritious, containing essential fatty acids such as omega-3s, as well as fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, and K. It provides a concentrated source of energy and really supports various bodily functions, including hormone production and cell membrane structure. And to do all of that for less than $1 a pound is seriously just insane to me. So I highly recommend you collect these beef fat trimmings, either enjoy it raw straight out of the bag, or you can even air fry it. How do you air fry it? Just preheat your air fryer to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever is its highest temperature that it can go, and just go ahead and air fry your beef fat trimmings for a total of 15 minutes or until it just gets super crispy. Beef fat trimmings are also incredibly versatile and can be used in a variety of cooking applications. They can be rendered into cooking fat for frying or sauteing and be used as a carnivore cooking oil, used to season and baste meats, or incorporated into recipes to really add that richness and moisture. From searing steaks to cooking your sunny side up eggs, beef fat trimmings can really elevate the flavor and nutrition profile of any dish. If you're looking for other really delicious, convenient, high-fat carnivore options, you could try a simple stick of butter or these awesome carnivore bars that I recommend for carnivores, especially those who are always on the go. I munch on these all the time, especially when I'm feeling hungry before a meeting in the steak and butter gang, and they're what I like to call a steak in a bar form. It's literally just grass-fed, grass-finished beef and beef fat blended up into a delicious compact bar with great crunchy and beefy flavor. It's super easy to take on the go, and you can enjoy them as a quick fat snack, as a meal replacement, or as a road trip carnivore companion so you can enjoy your travels without wondering how you will stay carnivore. If you're interested in checking them out, I'll make sure to link them down below in the description box alongside my discount code. Now, onto the rankings for all of these amazing budget meats that I would stockpile in a heartbeat. It is hard to do this because I love all of them equally, so take these rankings with a grain of salt and know that all 7 options are going to be wonderful budget choices so long as they keep you enjoying the carnivore diet. Coming in at number 7 on the list is going to be the chicken wings. This hurts, but as much as I love them, eat them all the time, and buy them just because they're so darn cheap, I do feel that they lack a nutrition and fat profile that I personally need to feel fully satiated. That's why I usually am adding extra butter on the side to these chicken wings or something extra fatty like fatty scrambled eggs. On the same note, I'm going to have to rank top round steak as number 6 on the list just because it lacks fat content, making it a less balanced option for most carnivores, and it does cost a little more than the other options on the list. Beef fat trimmings are going to come in 5th place. While they're probably the very best, most valuable, and most versatile option out of these 7 budget meats, I wouldn't advise myself myself or anybody else to go on a 0 to 100 protein to fat ratio diet, as we do really need that quality lean protein. If you can't tolerate beef fat trimmings, there are other ways you can fill that shoe, like with fatty ruminant meats or simply just a stick of butter. This is the part where my personal preference comes in, because to me, beef is still beef and will always be my preference compared to other ruminant meats. So I'm going to have to rank the skin on pork shank 4th place. It is cheap, it is delicious, has a great all-around fat to protein content, and the bone and collagen jelly are so much fun, so delicious. But beef generally has a more well-rounded nutritional profile than pork, such as higher iron and zinc levels that carnivores really need. My top 3 meats to stockpile in 2024 are the chuck eye steak coming in at number 3, flank and short ribs coming in at number 2, and ground beef once again coming in at the top of the hill. Chuck eye steak really is a budget ribeye, but its lack of accessibility and relatively high price makes it a less convenient choice for us carnivores. And even though short ribs, especially flank and cut short ribs, are always going to be my favorite cut of beef for the price, it is hard to compete with the king. Ground beef really can do it all. If you've made the no-brainer decision to incorporate ground beef in your carnivore diet, but are sick of the same old saute meals, check out my recent video where I show you 10 of my top favorite ground beef recipes that you have never tried before. A lot of these recipes are also Asian inspired by my mama's cooking, so I am sure you will love the creativity. You can pretty much rotate between these 7 meats and be all set for an amazingly diverse year of carnivore eating. So you can ditch the overpriced, glorified ribeyes once and for all. Full disclaimer, I love a ribeye as much as the next carnivore over, but you shouldn't have to pay 20 plus something dollars a pound to get healthy and thrive on a carnivore journey. I have literally witnessed countless members of the Steak and Butter Gang community post grocery receipts featuring some, if not all, of these 7 budget meats, proving that since going carnivore, they've actually saved money on their monthly grocery bill compared to when they were on a standard American diet or even a traditional ketogenic diet. Of course, this will vary person to person based on what exactly you're eating and where you live, but hopefully this video made it clear that the carnivore diet is way more diverse and way more affordable than a 20-something dollar grass-fed, grass-finished, whatever cut of steak every single day. Now, if you are new to this carnivore lifestyle, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and would love a little support and accountability, I welcome you all to join the Steak and Butter Gang. It is my carnivore community, which is completely off social media, and you will be able to connect with thousands upon thousands of passionate carnivore meat eaters just like you. It is a non-judgmental, safe haven for you to share updates, ask questions, post your struggles, and feel all the support from the carnivore members. You can also work with the incredible team of carnivore coaches. They are experienced in almost every aspect of health and wellness applied through a carnivore lifestyle. I also invite on carnivore doctors every single week to answer member questions and speak on topics that the community requests for. If you would like to check out the Steak and Butter Gang community, feel free to visit the URL shown on the screen, sbgmeetup.com. I've also linked clickable links down below in the description box. Before I wrap up, I just wanted to share something that I have been incorporating every single day that has been life-changing for me. Because I am constantly in front of laptops, phone screens, just screens in general, I have been wearing my blue blockers every single day. These are the ones that I wear. They're both from Bon Charge. This red one is maximum protection. This yellow one is medium protection. Obviously, if I could just recommend one, it's these red ones, just because when it gets dark outside, these are so protective of my eyes, and it really helps my eyes from feeling strained, dry, and tired at the end of a long day. Blue blockers are especially helpful for those who have trouble falling asleep and staying asleep, because wearing blue blockers every single day will also help your body produce more melatonin so that you can unwind, fall asleep, and stay asleep. Bon Charge also has a lot of other biohacking gadgets and tools, and something else that I really enjoy is their red light therapy. All you have to do is just lie down, let it wrap around you completely 360 degrees, Plug it in, choose your settings, and enjoy the red light benefits. If you're interested in any of the biohacking tools that I love, I'll make sure to link all of my favorites from BonCharge down below in the description box alongside my discount code. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications down below to not miss my future videos. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my favorite 7 budget meats to stockpile in 2024, and I will see you in the next video. SBG out.